excessive force and is brought to us by 6 ABC Philadelphia's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On May 25th, 2018, 20-year-old Philadelphia resident Emily Weinman was sitting with a friend on a beach in Wildwood, New Jersey when she was approached by Officer Thomas Cannon and Officer Robert Jordan of the Wildwood Police Department. Both officers were Class 2 Special Law Enforcement Officers, which, as the Wildwood PD's website explains, are temporary officers brought on to assist with the tourist population during the summer months, with most special law enforcement officers being college students earning credits towards their degree through the program. After approaching Ms. Weinman, Officer Cannon and Officer Jordan began to question her about some unopened bottles of alcoholic...
Guys, is this... Wait. No, that's not even cadet, though. That's like nothing.
Twisted teas that were sitting beside a cooler near where Ms. Weinman and her friend were sitting.
They're your parents?
My aunt.
Oh, your aunt? Where's your aunt at?
On her way. She left and she's coming back.
Left, she's coming back? Cool. Do me a favor. Take a deep breath and blow into that, alright?
Do you have to? You don't have to.
Alright, do me a favor. Try one more time. Deep breath. Don't go so far in.
Guys, do you have to? I don't think you have to do any of this, right?
Is there a staring problem? Mind your business.
563, we're 10-8.
Alright, where's your aunt at? You have her phone number?
There's not probable cause for that.
How old are you?
I know that didn't come up positive. I didn't take a drink of anything, so.
Alright, yo guys, even if it's your aunt, she is of age.
Guys, I mean, I'm wrong about this, but reasonable suspicion and probable cause is two different. Probable cause is something you didn't can prove based on facts. Like, I don't think you can just say, yo, blown the balloon, yo, lol. Oh, you're just chilling? You could be drunk blowing this bubble. What?
Alright, go grab her real quick. We're gonna have them pour that all out.
How are you gonna let us go if we didn't even drink alcohol?
Well, where's your aunt at?
You're allowed to carry alcohol.
That's interesting.
You're underage. You are. You're not allowed to drink it, and we did not
Open
drink
display on the beach.
What?
It's possession consumption.
It's not open.
Open display means you...
What do you mean? That doesn't
You can
mean
see
anything.
it, yes.
Okay, you can see it, and we're not drinking.
5043. Go ahead with that little scavenger in the beach.
The officers informed Ms. Weinman that it is illegal for underage individuals to have alcohol in their possession and in public view on the beach, even if they do not consume them. And this is an accurate statement of the applicable law.
Yeah.
Section 2C 33-15 of the New Jersey statutes makes it a non-criminal disorderly persons offense for a person under the age of 21 to knowingly possess without legal authority or knowingly consume an alcoholic beverage in a public place. Similarly, Section 4-1.2 of Wildwood Municipal Code states that, quote,
Chat, isn't there a loophole to this? Just put a bag over your thing, like one of these brown bags. That's just a loophole.
It shall be a violation of this section for any person to commit any of the following acts on the beach, boardwalk, or boardwalk approaches during the months of May, June, July, August, and September of each year. Openly display, expose, or dispense, or offer to dispense, or to consume any beer, wine, whiskey, or other alcoholic beverages. However, it is possible that a court would find that Ms. Weinman did not have the twisted teas in her possession, as they allegedly belonged to her aunt, and were simply nearby the location where she was sitting. In general, an individual can be charged with a possession-based offense if they have actual or, quote-unquote, constructive possession of an object. As the Supreme Court of New Jersey explained in the 2006 case of State v. Morrison, quote, a person has actual possession of an object when he has physical or manual control of it. Alternatively, a person has constructive possession of an object when, although he lacks physical or manual control, the circumstances permit a reasonable inference that he has knowledge of its presence and intends and has the capacity to exercise physical control or dominion over it during a span of time. If the twisted teas did belong to Miss Weinman's aunt, and Ms. Weinman had not carried them or otherwise exerted physical control over them and did not intend to do so.
So if you don't touch it when they're there, and you don't say anything, and it actually goes to court, you win by a landslide.
Weinman would have a strong argument that she did not possess any alcoholic beverages. However, the court would likely agree that the officers at least had the reasonable suspicion necessary to detain Ms. Weinman, both to investigate whether she was underage and in possession of alcohol, and because the beverages were openly displayed in violation of the local ordinance.
How about that?
Will you lock me up for
You know what you just said? Well, to show you have manual control is that you have to be in contact with it, or you're holding it, right? Or if it's in the vicinity, then it has to be reasonable in context that it's yours, right?
You want the water
Because
over
then
there?
in certain
Yeah, you're not
scenarios.
cooperating.
So like,
I didn't disrespect you. I didn't do anything to get written up, did I?
Causing a scene. Now you're causing a scene. You want to? All right. I'll give you one more chance to give me your last name.
Just be
You're not gonna lock me up.
Okay.
You can't lock me up. I didn't disrespect you.
Okay.
And you don't need to write my name down either because I didn't disrespect you. I didn't do anything to you. You're mad because we thought we were drinking.
I'll give you one.
Because your brother left me.
Okay. First of all,
You thought you
you're
were
in
gonna come
possession.
over here.
Where's your aunt at then?
She's on her way.
Okay. What's your last
You could
name?
wait here. That's like you wasted your time coming over here. You could wait here for her.
Okay. What's your last name?
You don't need my last name.
The officers ask Ms. Weinman to provide her last name and threaten to arrest her for obstruction if she does not comply with their demands. But she refuses and claims that she has not broken any laws. Although New Jersey does not have a stop and identify statute that would require Ms. Weinman to identify herself to the officers, Section 2C 33-15
Oh,
of the
here
New
comes
Jersey
again.
statutes, which is the underage alcohol possession statute we discussed earlier, does subject underage individuals who possess or consume alcohol to certain penalties, including a written warning issued by a law enforcement officer to the underage person for first-time offenders. Now, quoting, "The written warning shall include the person's name, address, and date of birth, and a copy of the warning containing this information, plus a sworn statement that includes a description of the relevant facts and circumstances that support the officer's determination that the person
written-
committed the violation." Therefore, it is possible that the officers were attempting to identify Ms. Weinman in order to write this written warning, or check her record for previous violations, which would subject her to additional penalties. However, Ms. Weinman likely could not be found guilty of obstruction for simply refusing to provide her last name. According to Section 2C 29-1 of the New Jersey statutes, quote, "A person commits an offense if he purposely obstructs, impairs, or perverts the
guys, why doesn't the country just say, hey man, here are the laws of the country? What is it all, every state,
administration
every
of law
bullshit?
or other governmental
Fuck,
function,
like,
or prevents
dude,
or attempts to
dude, you
prevent
could work years to get your bar license in a state. You go to the other one, it's the fucking Wild West, dude.
public
Nobody gives a
service and
fuck
lawfully
about half the
performing an
shit.
official
Like,
function
what's
by
happening here,
means of
dude?
Flight, intimidation, force, violence, or physical interference or obstacle, or by means of any independently unlawful act. As the Appellate Division of the Superior Court of New Jersey explained in the 2005 case of State versus Camilo, quote, "Simply obstructing, impairing, or perverting the administration of law or the governmental function is no longer a statutory violation. The obstruction must be carried out in a manner described in the statute." The court then concluded that an individual could not be convicted of obstruction for refusing to provide his name, date of birth, and social security number because, quote, "he did not physically interfere with Trooper Dykeman. What he did was refuse to provide
What?
information the trooper required to complete his incident report. While defendant's actions may, in fact, have in a real sense obstructed the trooper from preparing his report, that conduct
doesn't
in
make
the
sense.
absence of physical interference is not a violation. For this reason, it is highly unlikely that Ms. Weinman could be convicted of obstruction for refusing to give her name.
Said I'm done with you. Do you have cuffs on you?
Yo, man!
Get over here.
Don't touch me!
Yo.
Don't touch me!
All right. You're about to get dropped.
Uh-oh.
Yo, don't touch me! Man! Don't!
Get over here.
What are you doing? Don't!
After briefly chasing Ms. Weinman a short distance across the beach, she turns around and shoves the officer before being thrown to the ground.
Uh-oh.
Ms. Weinman immediately begins resisting the officers and calling out to her nearby friends. At some point during the scuffle, one of the officers punches Ms. Weinman in the head several times before managing to restrain her.
What? Hey! Hey.
Alpha, Charlie, Oscar,
Oh
Bravo.
my god! I didn't do anything wrong! I wasn't drinking anything! Just smell it!
Wasn't even open, bro.
Choke me off! I can't believe you did that! Get off of me! Ah!
Who's this?
Don't stare unless you're gonna help! You need to
That was a fucking disaster.
Piece of trash! treat people. I'm gonna talk to Captain as if he will get too.
Good, I hope you do.
Yeah, Will! Dirtball! No! Who are you?
Dirtball.
What? No, tell me why you put it on the ground. Bro, she didn't even open the can.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Nothing was open. No,
Now's not the time to argue this, okay? Number one, you got a baby in your hand.
I know. So you take my baby.
You got a baby in the worry about her, not your girlfriend. You can get that straightened out later.
Ms. Weinman's boyfriend criticizes the officers for their decision to punch Ms. Weinman during the confrontation. It is undisputed that officers are entitled to use reasonable force to execute an arrest or detention. As the Supreme Court explained in the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, quote, "Our Fourth Amendment jurisprudence has long recognized that the right to make an arrest or investigatory stop necessarily carries with it the right to use some degree of physical coercion or threat thereof to effect it."
Yeah, well, that was
According to
not
the National
reasonable, though,
Institute
dude.
of Justice, most law enforcement agencies have policies that recognize a, quote, use of force continuum.
Wait, especially if they're physically better and outnumbered and you know, and it's a woman and it's two bigger men, that is not reasonable. You
And,
wouldn't
quote,
ever be able to argue
describe
that.
an escalating series of actions an officer may take to resolve a situation. This continuum generally has many levels, and officers are instructed to respond with a level of force appropriate to the situation at hand, acknowledging that the officer may move from one part of the continuum to another in a matter of seconds. In some situations, a closed fist punch is considered an appropriate method of control or restraint and a constitutional use of force. A closed fist punch is a type of quote-unquote empty hand control, where officers use bodily force alone to restrain a citizen, and is a mid-level escalation in a typical use of force continuum. Kicks and punches are known as quote-unquote hard techniques, and are considered a step above the soft, empty hand techniques, such as grabs, holds, and joint locks on the use of force continuum. It is difficult to predict whether a court would conclude that punching Ms. Weinman was an excessive use of force, or if it was constitutionally valid.
Wait, but it was multiple,
Legal
though.
analysis is highly circumstantial. For instance, in the 2009 case of Husbands versus City of New York, the Second Circuit held that, as a matter of law, a single punch to the torso of an individual who was resisting being put in handcuffs did not rise to the level of excessive force. But in the 2013 case of Martinez versus Snyder, the District Court of Delaware held that a reasonable jury could conclude that punching an individual in the face hard enough to fracture her orbital bone was excessive and not reasonable under the circumstances.
Well, no
The
shit.
court explained that while the suspect did resist arrest, quote, "It is unclear whether it was necessary for Williams to punch her in the face in order
Jesus.
to effect arrest. A jury could find that plaintiff, a female of small size, did not appear to be intoxicated, possessed no weapons, was held down on the ground by both defendants, had only one hand free, and did not seem to be trying to seriously injure defendants. Because whether a punch constitutes
Defendants.
excessive force substantially depends on a jury or judge's discretion and
Oh,
interpretation
defendants, as
of
in
the facts,
the
it is possible that the
lawsuit, sorry.
decision could go either way."
I'm dumb.
How old is she?
All you do is just punch her in her face, though.
Yeah, well, she tried kicking us, so that's it.
She didn't kick her.
Yeah, she did.
Piece just recorded it.
And my man's just laughing. Ha ha ha. Fine.
I go to. Yeah, it's fine. I go to stop
Haha, man, you punch somebody?
her for LO for underage drinking. She said she's 20. She had twisted teeth. She wouldn't give me her last name. So I said, hey, if you're not going to give me your information, you're going to be locked up. She tried walking away from me. When she tried walking away from me, I tried grabbing her. She tried kicking at us, so we slammed her on the ground. She kicked him. And then I hit her a couple times, and then I put her in cuffs, locked her up.
Ms. Weinman was placed under arrest and transported to the Wildwood Police Station. She was charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and obstruction, all of which are disorderly persons offenses and not crimes. A bystander on the beach had filmed part of the confrontation and shared the video on social media, leading to an international outcry about the officer's conduct. After the footage went viral, Ms. Weinman was charged with several criminal offenses, including 2 counts of aggravated assault, throwing bodily fluids in the 3rd degree, resisting arrest in the 3rd degree, and hindering apprehension in the 4th degree. However, Ms. Weinman eventually pled guilty to a single charge of disorderly conduct, which is a petty disorderly persons offense. The Cape May County Prosecutor's Office conducted an investigation into whether
I don't get it. Wait, what?
officers Cannon and Jordan used excessive force when arrested.
Wait. She pled guilty to something that was initially she was gonna get charged with only one and then that negated everything that she was gonna get, plus the one that were being additional.
Ms. Weinman, and determined that there was insufficient evidence to warrant criminal charges. However, on October 14, 2019, Ms. Weinman filed a federal lawsuit against the officers and the city of Wildwood, and in November of 2020, the city agreed to pay a $325,000 settlement. Overall, the Wildwood Special Law Enforcement officers get an F. Because although the officers likely had reasonable suspicion to investigate Ms. Weinman, they baselessly threatened to arrest her for obstruction, failed to employ any measure of de-escalation, and used a disproportionate degree of force to subdue Ms. Weinman. The Wildwood Special Officers were well within their authority to approach Ms. Weinman and detain her under the suspicion that she was openly displaying alcohol on the beach. However, considering that New Jersey is not a stop and identify state, Ms. Weinman was not obligated to present her identification until the officers acquired probable cause and arrested or cited her. Instead of waiting a reasonable amount of time to investigate whether Ms. Weinman's claims were true, the officer decided to arrest.
Guys, I get it. That's why chat looks so dumb every day, and I sound dumb. It's because sometimes we watch a video and somebody says that's illegal, and I say, no, dude, that's legal. Everybody says in chat, no, that's not legal, is it? Because everyone lives in different fucking random bullshit Kekona states.
Arrest her for refusing to provide
and the law
her
is
last
different
name.
in every
It is
piece
clear
of
from
land.
the body camera footage that the primary arresting officer was frustrated with Ms. Weinman's attitude, and this is likely why the officer failed to consider the disparity of force that existed between himself and Ms. Weinman. Standard protocol in any use of force situation generally considers the physical characteristics of the suspect, such as age, size, gender, and apparent strength. And it is clear that the two special officers had a distinct physical advantage over Ms. Weinman. This is likely why the city of Wildwood agreed to the settlement. Ms. Weinman also gets an F for failing to invoke her right to remain silent, refusing to comply with the lawful orders of the officers, and for physically attacking one of the officers as he approached her. As mentioned on many episodes of ATA, resisting an arrest is never a good idea, regardless of the circumstances, and it is much more productive to fight your battle for justice in the courtroom, not on the street. The body camera footage clearly shows Ms. Weinman shoving the officer just before she's taken down, and footage from other bystanders shows her continuing to resist while on the ground. At no point during the interaction did Ms. Weinman invoke her right to remain silent, and she refused to obey several lawful commands while maintaining a hostile and condescending demeanor. All that said, nothing that Ms. Weinman did justified the level of force that the Wildwood Special Officers employed. While I do commend Ms. Weinman for following up this interaction with the proper legal action, I would caution other citizens in a similar situation to remain as calm and compliant as possible while verbally invoking the right to remain silent. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.
I think the video will audit. Thank you, sir. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. That was pretty good.